Happy Tuesday, y'all. This is like a bonus week video, I guess. I was cleaning the vegetable freezer out because in my mind, I have at least a quart of bell peppers. Or my mind said that. Well, I don't. But when I was organizing, I said, well, I'm going to make room, staying positive for the purple hull peas. And y'all know I store mine in a white cotton pillowcase, which I'll show you that when we get to that point of shelling them. Anyway, I happened to look, and I said, what is that? The bottom of my chest freezer, that's my vegetable freezer, and I have a fruit one, and then I have the upright, which is our meat. Well, it was a white pillowcase. And I said, what in the world? Because every time I open it, gets something out. It just looks like the bottom of the chest freezer, white. And I went to lift it, and I was actually on the phone with a friend of mine. I lifted it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I opened it up, and there sat what I thought was about 5 pounds of fresh frozen baby llamas. I had got them from Mr. Ed last year, about in June, I guess, and that was right on the heels of Buddy's open heart surgery. So I had set them in the pillowcase, and because I always keep mine kind of lined up on that little ledge that's in the chest freezers, and I guess somehow it had fallen flat. Guys, it never registered that I had got these baby llamas. So I was like, well, I've got to can them. I've got to can them. So I went ahead and I put them in the kitchen sink. I cleaned it. And what I did was I just let them sit an hour, rinsed them very well, and put them in a colander. And I said, okay, I'm going to change up my plans. This now is priority. So I'm going to take you back in time to where we're at right now. And we're just going to bounce through the process of how I can fresh, well, in this case, was frozen baby llamas. But by soaking them for an hour in just cold tap water, it thawed them, rinsed them, and I made video clips leading up to where we're at right now. And it's a beautiful day. So instead of outside, we're in the sugar shack getting these lima beans preserved. These were fresh, frozen baby lima beans, about 10 pounds. I soaked them in the sink, a clean sink, for about an hour. I rinsed and I drained them very well. I will be canning in my 23-quart Presto stovetop canner. I've brought my water up to the indicator line, which is 3 quarts. Actually, it's a little over 3 quarts, but there's an indicator line in my canner, and I brought cold tap water up to the indicator line. I will be raw pack, cold pack, and starting off with cold water. I will be canning in pint jars, so I will add a half a teaspoon of canning salt, which is optional, it's not required, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar. There again, optional, not required. It doesn't make the lima beans sweet, but it does take any bitter from these fresh lima beans. Without firmly packing these jars, guys, I did fill my jars, these are pints, 3/4 of the way. I'm about 1/4 of an inch below the 1 inch headspace when you're measuring your headspace from the top of your jars. You really don't want to pack them, and don't go over the 3/4 amount. I'm adding tap water all the way up to the 1 inch mark. This is where my watermark is, and our beans are below our watermark. You need to pressure can with the 1 inch headspace. These will swell on you, but by soaking them in the sink in cold water, it's added weight to them. So they're less likely to swell too large. That's why I say go 3/4 of the jar, or a little bit below, but I'm happy with this. Top off with water to 1 inch headspace. And you definitely want to debubble. Don't miss this step. The jars are filled. I've topped them off with tap water. I do have my flats in hot water, not boiling water. All 18 pints have the flats and rings. Make sure you do not crank down on your ring. You just want them finger tight. The first 9 pints are in the pressure canner. Now this is a 23 quart, so I'm gonna be able to double stack. The top is on. Now I'm gonna set my stove eye to a number 9, right below high, because we've got to get this up to temp and start venting. Do y'all see that? Can you hear it? It's starting to rock and roll, but we're waiting on steam. Okay, we're at a full steam. Can you see it here? When you reach that full steady stream that you can't break, start your timer for 10 minutes. Our pop-up valve has locked in place. Now I will be pressure canning on 10 pounds of pressure. Make sure you check your altitude, but I'm at 10 pounds of pressure. We have been venting steady for 10 minutes. Our jiggler goes on. And because I've canned many a times on this stove, I know that my sweet spot is right under the number 6. So I just dialed it back from 9 to number 6. I will be canning 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. I don't rely on this gauge. It gives me an eye view, but I rely on my jiggler. There is a steady jiggle that you want. You don't want it looking like a fast hula hoop dancer, and you don't want it moving very slow. It is a sweet spot, but never just rely on a gauge. Perfect example. The gauge is showing 10 pounds of pressure, but the jiggler is delayed. I see that it's creeping up to 11, so I'm gonna adjust my stove so it will maintain between 10 and 11 pounds of pressure. But this is what I was showing you. Don't just rely on that gauge. So the gauge reached it a good minute before the jiggler did. And we are just about where I like it. Okay, I am maintaining on the gauge. I did decrease my stove eye to a 5, and my jiggler is steadily rocking, but not too fast. We're gonna go 40 minutes. Now guys, if you are gonna be canning in quarts, you will go 50 minutes. We've reached 40 minutes. Stove is off. We wait for the jiggler to stop moving, as well as we decrease to 0, meaning there's no pounds of pressure in our canner. That could take an hour minimum. It took 50 minutes. Our jiggler is not moving. Our gauge is sitting at 0 pounds of pressure. And here is our Lima beans. So a bonus video, guys. Today is Tuesday. You'll see this in a couple of hours. I hope you enjoyed it. This is not what I planned today, but it is what it is. And I'm thrilled to know that these will go on our pantry shelf, and they didn't just stay hiding in the bottom of that deep freeze in that white cotton pillowcase for another year. Oh, I'm so glad I was digging for them bell peppers. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.